Hi, I'm Julie Thompson. Welcome to the State Senate Plymouth and Barnstable candidate interview. I want to take a moment to thank our candidate for participating in this interview and collaborating with PAC TV to bring this informational programming to residents and voters in this election season. Let me explain the format. Today, Jay McMahon, Republican candidate for State Senator, Plymouth and Barnstable District, will be interviewed. Mr. McMahon will have 2 minutes to introduce himself, speak about his background, qualifications, and why he's running for office. Then I will ask a series of questions related to state and local issues. Mr. McMahon will be hearing the questions for the first time during this forum. He will have 5 minutes to answer the questions. After the questions, Mr. McMahon will have a 2-minute closing remark section. Let's get started with the opening statement. Mr. McMahon, welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, PAC TV, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to be with all of you and answer questions concerning issues of the district and that we're facing. As you all know, I'm running for State Senate for the Plymouth and Barnstable District. It includes Pembroke, Kingston, Plymouth, Bourne, Sandwich, and Falmouth. I'm excited to run for this position. I've always admired public service. I've been an attorney for 30 years, a trial attorney. And I have experience in just about every board conceivable. I've been before federal boards, state boards, and municipal boards, including towns within the Commonwealth and within this district. And I've had cases in just about every court from the SJC all the way down to the local district courts, in particular the Plymouth District Court. I have a passion to see issues get resolved, especially issues facing this district. When I first ran and decided to run for this office, we didn't have a pandemic going on. No one knew what coronavirus was. I was concerned for this district for the issues that are facing it and also statewide. I was concerned and still am for the opiate epidemic that has hit the Commonwealth and has hit every town within this district. But I'm also concerned with local issues. And now, first and foremost, is our economy post-pandemic. In other words, where do we go after this pandemic is lifted? Where do we go? How do we revive our economy? And I am proud to say that I am the only candidate running for this office that has a 10-point plan to revive and restore the economy of the Plymouth County, the towns in Plymouth County, and also for Cape Cod. Because we are a vacation destination place, and people come here to spend money on their vacations.
Thank you. That was your 2-minute opening, and you will have more opportunity to answer questions. Question number 1. Individual governors are developing plans for a phased reopening of their states. How do you see your role as senator of our district in this process? And in addition to our economy, what do you see as the priorities for our district with the reopening of the state? What is your specific plan to bring back the economy? You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, as I stated, I am the only candidate with a 10-point plan. It's a recovery plan. Now, the governor has right now has shut down a lot of businesses, which the government apparently has labeled some businesses as non-essential. I just want to say right here and now, if you're that business owner, or if you work for that business and you obtain a paycheck so you can pay your mortgage and your livelihood, that business is not non-essential to you. In fact, it is vital. And I've got a 10-point plan, businesses to open in this district. Most of the businesses in this district are 3 seasonal. For instance, I'm talking about the hospitality industry with hotels, and I'm talking about restaurants and taverns and bars. And right now, they've all been closed, and they have to reopen quickly. They have to reopen because for 3 seasons, and we're already into the first season, and Memorial Day is usually the kickoff, Memorial Day weekend. And so what I want to see is that these small businesses are able to produce a plan, to submit a plan for safe reopening. There's no reason why any small business cannot reopen, just like we have the post office, we have liquor stores, we have grocery stores where there's an exchange of currency or credit cards. that sort of thing, filling out forms, banks where you still got to fill out forms and hand things to them. I think that we can reopen Cape Cod and the Plymouth area with reasonable precautions. Maybe they're going to be masks. Maybe they're going to be plexiglass, those sort of things. There's no reason why those businesses should still have to be shut down. If you go into Walmart and you go into the local grocery store, you see a lot of people walking around. Some of them have masks, some of them don't. But if they're open, I can't see why we can't develop a protocol for other businesses to open. So to me, that's paramount to get the economy running. That and the very next thing compared to that would also be my program to what I want to see is a meal tax holiday. I want to be able to see that for at least 30 days so that we can get people going back into the restaurants. I want to see a sales tax holiday, multiple sales tax holidays, so that our businesses will be regenerated by local income. In other words, the local people will go into these businesses and start buying things because that's what's going to stimulate the economy. And I want to stop taxing these people to death. I want the sales tax to be rolled back to 5%. I want our businesses not only to open, but to start recalling their employees so we can get this economy up and running. It can be done, and it can be done systematically, but we can't just tell these people they got to stay closed. What we want to do is give them the opportunity to submit a plan that would include social distancing and other protocols so that we stay on top of this, the precautions we need for this pandemic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The second question that we're going to ask you is, the current political climate in our country is very polarizing. With politicians unable to get work done in the interest of the people, prompting gridlock on many levels. How do you see this affecting the work that needs to happen at the state level, and how do you plan to work across the aisle to create bipartisan relationships? You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Now, bipartisan relationships assumes that for whatever reason, some of the policies that I stand for may not be acceptable to, say, other people in the legislature. Well, that can't be. All of my programs right now that I have put out either on Facebook or on my website are to benefit the businesses within my district. In other words, everything that I've been saying and doing is to benefit the business owners and the employees in this district. There's nothing in my program that somebody from Western Massachusetts wouldn't think that's helpful for the rest of the Commonwealth, because it's not a selfish approach. It's an economic approach. For instance, a waiver or a moratorium on meal taxes so that the total tab at a restaurant is cheaper. I want to lift the ban on happy hour so that people can start coming into these restaurants. I want to have sales tax holidays. That's going to help everybody in the Commonwealth. It's going to help our district because we're a vacation destination point and we are a 3-season economy. But it's going to help everybody all over the Commonwealth to follow along these policies. So if somebody can't reach out to me because of these policies, I don't know what else to say to them. It only makes economic sense, not only for our district, but their district as well. And my plan to help seniors, they have seniors in their district, and this will help them as well. So the policies and plans that I'm putting forward, that's going to help everybody in the Commonwealth. I just want to get started doing it.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. Many public and mental health officials and experts are concerned with how social distancing and the protocols of the stay-at-home reality will have on those struggling with addiction, those confronting domestic violence, and even the increased likelihood of suicide. How would you proactively deal with these issues, and how would you address their prevalence and the need for expanded services for support in the short and the long term? You have 5 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you right now, before the pandemic started, we had another epidemic, and it was the opiate epidemic. And there was some real issues, and there still are. People are still dying for opiate addiction and opiate overdoses, even right now as we're talking on this program. I've lost my son, my oldest son, to the opiate epidemic. So I understand about how that affects families. As far as social distancing, I just put out a news release today, press release, to open up the golf courses. Why not open up golf courses? Why are they closed? The game naturally lends itself to social distancing. People could go out and get some fresh air. People can go out and still enjoy one another at social distancing. There can be protocols that could easily put in place for golf courses in Massachusetts. Some states have the golf courses open. I mean, I noticed in the news that Maine completely opened up their state to business and commerce. So how does it affect people with mental illnesses? Well, it exacerbates it. That's what happens when you have them all confined in a location. In my particular household, it's a little different. We're coming up with new things to do every day. We're all cooking together. We're all doing things together, and we're enjoying it. We're watching movies and stuff like that. But how it affects people with mental illnesses, well, you got to be able to get out. Humans are not made to stay confined forever. And more than 3 weeks, beginning to become forever. I think people should be able to go out on drives. I think they should be able to call up a restaurant, order a takeout, and go get it. I think people should be able to walk in parks and beaches. I'm a little appalled that we closed it. Why would we close beaches and paper where people can be out in the open and enjoy each other's presence and still experiencing social distancing, maybe still have some masks on. So that's some of the things we got to do. And so we can ease the restrictions and still have reasonable protocols to continue us and help us to get through this pandemic.
Okay, thank you. Question number 4. What do you consider to be the most important infrastructure projects for our district, and how will our current economic state affect their funding and their timeline? You have 5 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what. The biggest one that's affecting this district right now is the bridges. Everybody's concerned about, because it is geographically, it's smack in the center of the district. The Bourne Bridge and the Sagamore Bridge. Those bridges were built in 1935. That's when they opened. And they've just reached the end of their usefulness. I mean, there is constant repairs being done. So that's one of the things that I'd be looking at when you ask what's the most important infrastructure. Clearly, it's federal property. The federal government owns those bridges. I am not interested in having the state take it over because it's a huge, massive project. And because it's the feds, let them keep it and let them continue on with this project. I know the Corps of Engineers, some people are saying, well, the federal government's balking at it. No, they're not. The Corps of Engineers is working on plans. They haven't even put a budget together yet, so it's not like they're balking on it, deciding to kick the can down the road. But they are working on designs. They haven't even got a bridge design yet on how they want to replace it. So those are some of the things that I think are most important. One of the other things is we've got to find how we can save on some of the expenditures we have at the state. Because you see, it's not a revenue problem that we have, it's a spending problem. For instance, we spend $675,000 per mile per year on road and highway maintenance. We're the highest in the nation. That has to end. We got to find out what's causing us so much money to maintain our highways when Alaska spends less than that, when New Hampshire spends less than that, when Florida spends less than that. And the reason why I mention those 3 states is because they all got different climates, and yet they still spend less. So there's other things to look at when it comes to spending money and where we can save some money. And we'll get on. I'll mention more of that in answering some of your other questions.
Okay, thank you. Question number 5. In your opinion, what are the most clear and present differences between you and your opponent? You have 5 minutes.
Well, this is relatively easy. I put out a 10-point plan, an economic recovery plan for the district. It's just as good for the entire Commonwealth, but my jurisdiction would be the district. It's there for everyone to see. My recovery plan is on my website, and I encourage your viewers to go to my website. It's attorney, you got to spell out the word attorney, Jay McMahon, MCMAHON.com, or you can go to my Facebook page, which is J4, that's the number 4 State Senate, and you will see my 10-point recovery plan. Every point makes sense. It's common sense because I want to bring a common sense approach to government. I also have a plan to help seniors. It's a 4-point plan, but it helps them specifically. So the difference is, for instance, I know for a fact that seniors retire on their long-term investments. What are long-term investments? It could be anything, but we could be talking about 401ks, 403b plans, annuities, any kind of retirement plan. My opponent wants to tax those. And when you look at the information that she's putting out on how she wants to tax it, all you have to do is use her math on her plan. That's a 79% increase taxes on seniors. I'm not going to tax seniors. I am not going to tax them, and I'm not going to add any more to their fixed income burden. That's why I am adamantly against any new taxes. I'm the only candidate that has taken the no new tax pledge. I took that pledge because I believe Massachusetts has a spending problem, not a revenue problem. We've had $1 billion in excess that is revenue overspending. Now that's not bad. We've had that. We're the second year in a row. Of course, this pandemic is going to kick all that to pieces. But my point is that we have money in the budget. We do not have to have more taxes. I am adamant against any new gas tax, any carbon tax, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I took a pledge not to add new taxes. Number two, seniors can't afford more taxes. And number three, before the pandemic, we had the closest to full employment that this economy has ever had in 50 years. It's a good economy. The reason why there's a lot of cars on the road, people are going to work each day and coming home each day. I'm not going to add to their burden of having traffic backups by adding 17 cents more per gallon. That penalizes the people in this district because the people in this district have to drive to work. If you live in Woods Hole or anywhere in Sandwich or in Bourne, there's no MBTA train to take here. You got to drive in if you want to go to Boston to work. And I'm not going to penalize anybody with more gas taxes or open road tolling where they jack up the tolls or put new tolls, say on Route 3, Route 495, 195, 95, 91. I'm going to be completely against that. I'm going to be watching out for the wallet of the people in my district. And I just want to say to the people of the town of Plymouth, when it comes to taxes, I already know you're being taxed to death with real estate taxes in the town. I'm not going to have the state come back and take even more money from your wallet. Believe me, people, I've got your back. I won't let that happen. I'm the only candidate who's been supported by small business organizations and associations. They support me because they know I also, being an attorney, I have employees and I'm running a small business. It's relatively successful, but I also know the hidden taxes that come in from all kinds of areas and angles that come against small businesses. Massachusetts has a tendency to be anti-business, and it's a shame. But I'm going to do what I can because I've been on the receiving end of that. So I'm going to do what I can to look at and review business regulations. I'm the only candidate that's making a declaration that we should have a 1-year moratorium on any new business regulations. And I want to be like what's happening in the federal government. If they want to propose a new business regulation, they got to get rid of 2 of the old ones. We're overregulated in Massachusetts. We can change that. We're overtaxed in Massachusetts.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Are in the numbers.
That was their 5 minutes for that question. You do now, however, have your closing remarks. You'll have 2 minutes to talk about anything that we didn't talk about already. Jay, go ahead.
All right. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to be with you today. I hope that I've answered most of your questions. If I haven't, I encourage you to go to my website. Attorney, you got to spell out again the word attorney, Jay McMahon, MCMAHON.com. Check out my website. If you have any questions, you can email me directly through the website, or you can also go to Facebook, and it's at J4, the number 4 State Senate. You can direct message me from there. You can call me. My cell phone number is available to you. You're a potential voter, and I want your vote. I would be honored to have your vote. My cell phone number is 508-789-0119. You call me with your questions and your concerns. I will tell you what my plans are or how I can help you. For 30 years, I've been an attorney. I've represented a lot of people in a lot of issues and a lot of business situations, and sometimes people that run into problems with government, because sometimes government can be overbearing. And I have a way to, I work with government, I work around government, and I work through government on behalf of my clients. And I will do the same for the people of the Plymouth and Barnstable district. I represent everyone in Pembroke, Kingston, and Plymouth, Vaughan, Sandwich, and Falmouth. And I'm asking you to consider what I bring and what I offer. The plans I have to revive the economy, the plans I have, the public safety plans that I have for you. For instance, illegal immigrants, they're not going to be first over you. Seniors looking for housing, I'm going to make sure that they get the housing before an illegal immigrant gets it. Veterans, I'm going to make sure that they're taken care of by Social Security verification. So I'm asking you to consider and know this. I've got your back. I'm going to ask you vote for me as your next state senator of the Plymouth and Barnstable district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. McMahon, for participating in this interview. For our viewers, thank you for joining us. If you're interested in watching replays of this interview, visit our website, pactv.org/elections, for replay times and online viewing options, including PAC TV's on-demand and streaming service, PAC TV Prime. And please make your choices heard by voting in the special election on Tuesday, May 19th. Your individual town's clerk's office will have information about voting by mail and in-person options. Thank you so much, and good day.